What's going on, everyone? So reports have already came out that Bronny James is expected to really ramp up this upcoming offseason and is looking to really kind of establish himself, be a rotation piece, and be a key contributor on this team as soon as next season. He is expected to play Summer League, right? And ironically, he's kind of everything this team needs if he can, get to that level, right? You look at Luka, saw it alongside Luka. What would you need? An athletic, versatile, point of attack, 3-and-D style guard, right? Now, ideally, I'd love if he was, 6'6", but nonetheless, he is, in theory and concept, exactly what the Lakers need, slotted alongside, Luka Doncic. Now, I don't necessarily expect him, even if he does, let's say he takes some real strides, right? Max Christie, you saw take some leaps in between year 1 and year 2. He didn't really get the opportunity because of Darvin Ham, but I could see Bronny James maybe getting some opportunity out there on the basketball court. Again, I don't know if at a starting caliber level, right, unless he takes some real strides. But I could see him potentially being a rotation piece throughout the course of the season, right? Will he be good enough to come playoff time be part of the rotation? That I don't know. But I could see Bronny James. You saw his progress throughout the course of the season. He was tearing it up in the G League. I mean, I get obviously the G League is not the NBA, but he showed all the signs that you wanted to see from a competent NBA player this year, right? Had some solid games. He had some rough moments. He had some bad moments, but it's also hard to really judge somebody at an NBA level when they're not getting real consistency outside of like, hey, we're down 30. Why don't you play the last 37 seconds? What do you expect from him from, a consistency level? But if, again, like I've talked about with Bronny before, not everyone has to be a superstar or anything like that, right? If Bronny James can just be what his prototype is, and that's an athletic, hyper athletic. He's got his dad's athleticism and his dad's IQ. But if he can be a athletic kind of two-way guard, that's perfect. If he is a athletic Gabe Vincent, right? Nothing crazy. Like no one looks at Gabe Vincent as like he's a superstar, a star, or anything like that. But if Bronny James can be an athletic version of that, that's perfect. Knock down the three ball with some consistency, right? Be able to be that point of attack, defensive, versatile guy. Also, beyond just like the prototype that Bronny James is, he's a young, athletic player that could really contribute to a team that really lacks athleticism, right? Now, look, he has a lot of work to do, a lot of strides that he needs to take. I imagine he's going to work with LeBron James. I imagine he's going to do his own training and his own regime, right? I do think that there will be, him working hard this offseason, right? One of the big things that everybody talked about the moment he was drafted was how hard he was working, how much effort and time and energy and whatnot he was actually putting in. And it wasn't one of those things where it was just, oh, he's LeBron's kid, so, I guess I don't have to work. I'm going to get $2 million a year or whatever. No, that he was actively pursuing that growth and development. And again, you saw it over the course of the season. You saw him progress game after game, month after month. And that's all you're asking for. You're not asking for him to go from, being the 55th pick in the draft to now being the best player in the NBA. You're looking for him to be 55th pick in the draft to progress to where it's like, man, people should have taken him in the first round. And then progress to like, oh no, like he's one of the better players in this draft, right? Again, he was the 55th pick. If he just becomes a rotation guy off the bench, that is incredible value, right? For a guy that was the 55th pick in the draft. Now, again, I do believe that Bronny James has the potential to really be a key contributor to this team. Again, I'm not saying a superstar or an all-star or anything like that. I also don't want to put limitations on such a young man, right? Like, I'm not going to, who knows? You never know what someone is going to be, right? When Giannis was drafted, no one thought he was going to be a superstar. When, Jokic was taken during a Taco Bell commercial, no one thought he was going to be a superstar and be the best player in the league, right? Again, I'm not saying Bronny is going to reach those heights or he's going to be as good or he's going to be anything, right? He could be out of the league in 5 years. Who knows? I don't know. But what I do know is he's a young man that has been working his tail off and is going to continue to work hard. And we're going to see, if he comes in next season and he looks lost, well, then you're starting to, again, I still don't want to write a kid off after 2 years, but it starts going like, you don't really see this. You don't see the growth you're looking for, right? Like Max Christie during Summer League was just better than everybody in Summer League. You saw it, right? Like you saw from year 1 to year 2, it was like, oh, this guy might actually end up becoming something, right? Like this guy might be legit for the Lakers in a year or two. Right. And unfortunately, he just never got the opportunity because of Darvin Ham. And then he ends up getting the opportunity with JJ Redick, but then ultimately ends up being sent out in the Luka Doncic trade. But Bronny James is a guy that could give you some of what Max Christie, what you lost in Max Christie. Right. Now, again, Max Christie is just bigger and longer. But again, Bronny James, luckily Luka's 6'7". Right? Like, so that helps. That's beneficial to where you can kind of get away with Bronny slotted in alongside, a Luka. And his athleticism, his foot speed, his lateral movement, right? His instincts. There's a lot of things. Like, he's already very good defensively. Like, he's not, like, ready to go win Defensive Player of the Year or anything like that, but you can see, like, he's got a good nose for the ball, good instincts on the defensive side of things, has that athleticism, has that foot speed to where he can stay in front of guys and just be a nuisance. Like, if he could be a Dennis Schroeder type of player, right, where he's just this pest, right, and he's just relentless on the defensive end, knock down the occasional three, right, because, again, Luka's going to have the ball in his hands 99% of the time, right? As long as Luka's on the court and on the team, he's going to have the ball most of the time in his hands. So you need guys that are able to play a role and play off of a guy like Luka. Bronny James, I think, can be that guy. Bronny James, I look at and go, okay, the point guard playmaker role, he still has a lot of work on that, right? Like the reads at times stuff, which is really strange given that, his size. You'd think that he would have, kind of refined his point guard skills a little more early on. But again, you might not really need that. You might just need him to be an initiator, right? Initiate the offense, get the ball to Luka, and then just defend on the defensive side, hit the open shot on the offensive side, make the occasional play, be a lob threat for Luka, right? Play off of Luka Doncic, right? If he does take enough strides to where he actually can be a rotation piece next season, right? And I'm not even necessarily saying that he's going to be the 6th, 7th guy, right? If he's the 9th or 10th guy off the bench for you over the course of the season, and he's actually getting meaningful minutes and is actually playing a role, but come playoff time, he's out of the rotation because he's just young and inexperienced and whatnot, right? Maybe he's playing spots here and there. Then again, that's fine. It's a long season. 82 games is a lot of games, and you need guys that can contribute. You need guys that can come in, play a role, know the role, understand the role. And Bronny seems like a guy that is that. Bronny seems like a guy that knows like what his role is meant to be as that 3-and-D style guard that can be that point of attack, that can make plays for himself, make plays for others, create a little bit for himself, beat guys, take guys off the dribble, right? That'd be nice. Finish at the rim, finish through contact, right? If he can continue to progress and take those strides from year 1 to year 2, really work on his shot, really develop that all-around game to where he can actually be, again, a key contributor next season, that'd be massive. And I mean, if he does end up being good enough to where it's like, man, this guy should be our seventh guy or our eighth guy, or, he is good enough to be a rotation piece in the playoffs, or, a starter level or something, that's just even better, right? Like if he can just, again, just be the eighth or ninth guy, right? Which is nothing crazy. Then that's one less guy you have to get this offseason and this trade deadline and so on and so forth, right? If Bronny James can come in, slot in, and just, again, be your third guard off the bench, right? Like, perfect, right? Like that's all you need him to be, right? That's one. Now you don't need to get that other guy. So then, whatever, Luka gets the night off and you have your backup filling in, and then, Bronny is that guy, is the backup to that guy, right? Whatever. That's fine. That's perfect. Right. So I'm really excited to see how Bronny sort of progresses this upcoming offseason. I'm excited to see kind of what the player that he starts to become. Again, we'll see in summer league. We'll see in as the season progresses next year if he's actually a contributor or not. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Kind of mixed in the middle. How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are. Either way, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.